Hi everyone, it's Jonathan here. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to take a hand-lettered logo and vectorize it in Adobe Illustrator. Let's get into it. So once you're finished sketching your logo design, you'll want to bring it into the computer. So the options you really have is you can take a photo of it. Just make sure when you take a photo of it that you try to get rid of shadow and try to have it over it as square as possible. I like to go over it in a thicker pen where you want your exact marks to be, as it will help later on in the process. Alternatively, you can also use a tripod to help you take the photo of it as well. Or the other option is that if you have a printer that has a scanner, you can scan it into the computer.
Okay, now that you've taken your photo or you've scanned your sketch into your computer, you want to open Adobe Illustrator and you just want to place your sketch in. Make it pretty big. Just helps with the process. And then rotate them the correct way. Now, because we only really want this part of it, we're just going to crop it down a little bit to make it easier. And we only really want this middle bit. We don't want the outside bits, so crop this down. The things you can do, if your sketch has lots of little marks like mine does, you can see where I've gone over it in pen for the actual line, but if it does have all these little sketch marks, that will make it harder to pick up when we do vectorize it, because it will start picking up these and then you'll have to do more refining. So a quick trick you can do is that take your sketch into Photoshop and then come down to make an adjustment layer for it, and come down to levels, open up levels. And all we're trying to do with playing with the levels here is bringing up the blacks and getting rid of these little bits on the side. So now you can see that it's much harder to see the little sketch marks, and it's just bringing the dark ones to the forefront. So this will make it much easier when we're trying to vectorize it. So now back in Illustrator, you can see the difference that is made since we've changed the levels in it from this to this, so it'll make it much easier to vectorize. So the two ways that we can vectorize in Illustrator depends on what kind of logo you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to achieve a really clean, sleek logo with really straight lines, I would choose using the pen tool and using Shape Builder to make the logo, to just redraw it. That way you'll be able to get really clean lines on it. But if you're doing more of a hand-lettered logo like this one, which what we're trying to achieve for the client is trying to keep that handmade feel to it, I would suggest doing this the way I'm going to show you now. So now that you have your image, you're going to come up to Window and making sure the Image Trace panel is open. I already have it open over here. And presets, you want to come down to Sketch Start. And now the things that it's selecting, it will actually vectorize this once we click Trace. So just make sure you turn Ignore White off, because that will knock out the background. And now you can just play with the settings a little bit to see what works best for you. So if you turn the threshold up, it's going to take more of the original sketch. As you can see, it's picking up more of it and it's getting thicker. But now if we go too far, it's going to start picking up these little sketch marks. This is what I was saying of why we need to get rid of the sketch marks, because if we try to vectorize this one, it would pick up all of these lines here as well. So we need to turn the threshold down a little bit. This will just take a little bit of fiddling. You'll get better with it over time. Great way with the advanced panel to figure out which way you need to pull them is just pull them to the extremes and see what it turns out with. So if we pull this to 100%, you can see that it's super bumpy and it's not really what we're going for. But then if you pull it all the way down, it's the opposite of it. Looks really computer dumb because you lose all the organic sides on it and you have these really sharp corners on it. So when you get happy with playing with the settings and you've achieved what you're looking for, turn Preview off and click Trace, and then up to Object and Expand. And now to vector shape. But as you can see, it's not quite perfect yet, because you get all these little inconsistencies on the side. So now we got the cleanup process, which this will take the most amount of time, but it's the best way to still keep the handmade feel of it, but be able to still clean it up. So the two tools you're going to be playing with the most to clean it up is the pencil tool over here. I have it set to N on the keyboard, and the smooth tool, I have it set to Shift A. It's really helpful to have shortcuts. It will really increase your workflow. So the pencil tool, you can redraw the shapes and choose where it's going to go. So if we need to cut in a bit, we can cut in a bit here. Or for a good example, if see this bumpy bit here, how we just need to get rid of this, and this needs to come straight up to here. We could cut where we want the shape to go now. Then the smooth tool just does a great job of working out the shape and getting rid of the bumpiness of it. And as it's called, the smooth tool, it will smooth out your shape a lot. You just have to be careful, make sure that you make saves of it and almost just make a duplicate copy of it to have a backup, because sometimes if you use the smooth tool too much and you'll be zoomed in, you'll zoom out later and you'll realize that the shape isn't really going in the direction that you want it to. So it's good to just have a backup to go back to. This will take some time to do, but you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. And if you have an idea of what you want the shapes to look like, and if you've done a good job with the sketch, you shouldn't actually take too much to clean them up. The trick you can do, if you have a letter that repeats multiple times, and if you're really happy with one of the letters you made, you can just copy it and use it multiple times. So just make a copy of it and then use the pencil tool and cut out the letter you want to copy. So this will delete everything around it. So you can get rid of this. Now you can Command F to paste in place the other letters again. You have this single E that you've cut out. So if you want to use the E again, you can just copy it across and put it into place, and then just do the same process to get rid of the other E that you don't want there. The other tool that's really useful when you're vectorizing and you're refining your lettering to make the logo is the direct selection tool, so the white selection tool up here. So for instance, if we need to bring the top of this W up, you just want to come and select all the points to bring it up, and then you can just drag it to make the shape that you need to make it with. So I'll just keep refining it, and then I'll come back once I've finished refining it. And all I'm doing is just the same technique of just those three tools. So I'm just using the pencil tool to just cut off bits. I'm using the smooth tool to just take the bad edges off corners, and I'm just using the direct selection tool if I really need to make some big edits or change anything in the size. For following this process, I've been able to get the logo to this place, which the client is quite happy with. And these leaves down the bottom was just the same thing. I had a sketch of the leaf, I took it in, and I just did the same process again until I was happy with them, and then I just plussed it onto the bottom of these shapes. So with the bottom bit, the bakery, I didn't actually draw this in the end. I actually found a font that was really similar to what I was looking for. So a good way to do this, if you don't want to draw a font like this, you can use a website that I use a bit called What the Font. You can just drop your image into here and you can just select, it will auto select. Sometimes you'll have to crop it to the right place, and then you can just click identify font, and it'll give you fonts that it can find on the internet that match your drawing. If you're happy with your sketch that you've turned into a vector, to get the pink foiling effect on it, I use an effect that I bought off Creative Market. It's linked down below if you want to check it out. So what you need to do with that is come up to Window, open the Graphic Styles panel, and then you want to just load in your foil effect. So once you've opened the foiling or whatever effect you want to put onto it, you just come down. This one comes with all different colors. For this one we want it to go pink, and then you just click on whichever one you want, and that will automatically apply it to you. It might take a little bit of time for your computer to process it, but that will automatically apply the gold foiling effect. To make the monogram, I just followed the exact same process again of vectorizing it and then refining it and then putting the graphic style on it. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like. If you want to see more content, don't forget to subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what you want me to do next. There'll be another video up here, and check that one out if you want to. Until next time.